Hello and welcome to the first video on the intermediate React version 5. So this course, which is taught by Brian Hall, the software engineer who has previously worked at Reddit, Netflix, Microsoft, and now he's currently the PM of Cloudflare, Snowflake. Sorry. The idea of this is to look at the tools and techniques to build production grade ready application. Okay, that's the entire point of this. Is learn tools and techniques to build production ready React applications. This is also something true, especially when you want to go with Nux or with Vue, which is another framework. But the whole point of this is to stick yourself with one thing and evolve with it. That's the only thing that I'm gonna say here. Evolve with it. All right. And yes, so the specific goal we're gonna see is the advanced techniques like code splitting, uh, server-side rendering, testing, and transition. Something that I'm quite familiar with, especially with code splitting and server-side rendering, and testing and transition, but for Vue. Okay, but now here we're gonna see is these little details of how to do this, as well as tools like Typescript, Tailwinds, and Redux. Okay, so we begin here with hooks in depth. This is a course that previously Brian Holt taught, and he showed a lot of the hooks that React put in the docs, put out there, but he eventually realized that you're not gonna ever use it, a lot of them, because that's for Facebook problems. And because of that, here we're gonna see is uh, yeah, he realized that you're not gonna use ever you're not going to ever use it, a lot of them. So therefore I don't think it is worth the brain matter to store them. So it is not going to be every hook possible, but conceivable a developer could use at some point. So what we're gonna look at it is that what are the conceivable hooks that developers might use in real life. So, for example, use ref. Something that I quite experienced here. The vast majority of this example we're going to use is stack blitz, which is uh, stack blitz allow us, which is a very impressive, powerful technique. So, stack blitz allows us to run Vite inside of a browser. In other words, it basically is running a Node.js uh, inside of a browser. Very, very, very impressive. Oh my god. It's like you're running, it's like you have the ability to run, for example, a PHP server or a Ruby server. But in this case, it's now a Node server, right? The environment here. So, despite that the vast majority of people don't like JavaScript, and they want to talk a lot of bad or good things, here we are. So the value proposition of useRef is that it allows you to extract exactly the DOM element, or exactly to it allows you to exactly track the same thing. Very, very, very important for animations. It allows you to track exactly the same thing that is triple equal to each other. What are the use case? But the whole point of this is if you need to track at the exactly same thing, uh, that is equal to other element, this is what allows you to do. Again, allow you to track is this the same thing that is triple equal to each other. Allows you to keep track is, for example, grabbing a DOM element and hold it reference. Okay, so letting now you to actually know when you want this to use the element. All right. So, for example, in the case of this, we are holding is this a specific element, from the DOM, and then we're going to now inject is the canvas, so we're going to render that. You know what I mean? No, actually, I didn't understand this. That's one of the reasons why we have to look at this, okay, this example, because it's like, why do I want to do this? Okay, because the idea with use ref is when you want to keep track exactly the same element with triple equal. Okay, so if you want to keep track that element, okay, here we're using is a function use ref. So here we're passing is a callback function. You know, here we're passing is a callback function to memo, which is another function that comes from React, which is something that we're gonna see that later. But the idea of use ref is that it allows you to is a very specific use case. Again, it allows you to keep track the same element with triple equals. So animation is one of them. So for example, if you want to keep track is this, okay? Uh, so if we say, for example, if we remove here Mimo, okay, just for example, all right? Then we say, hey, I want you to now is uh, use ref Mimo. Let me see if that actually is capable of. Okay. What's happened here is something that I would like to take a look here, because allegedly nothing has changed, right? Allegedly nothing has changed. So if we take a look at the DOM here, okay, and that Monaco container, then we reload this, then we say use ref, what happened here is that it's triggering is a lot of reference. So it actually is, because you can see what's going on unless you have the dev tool of React. So where is this? Okay, I don't have React dev tool. Oh my god, really? No, but for Firefox, please. Okay, that's good. That's great. And here, I think I need to restore that, because otherwise it won't show that extension here. Oh, did you got it? Exactly. This page doesn't appear to use React. Wink, wink. Really? Uh, okay, this is our fork from this. And what are you looking? No, I'm grabbing is the use ref. Yeah, exactly. Okay, which is this is quite slow by the way. Yeah, this is quite slow by the way. As you can see, it actually able to keep track all of this. Okay, but when we say use ref, it seems that there is a lot of context provider. Oh, but exactly, but this is for their own application. Yeah, but this is for their own application. Exactly. Well, any case, this is a way to obfuscate their code for that, and there is a large component here. And all of them are using is web containers for that, as well as an iframe for that, memo, callback, effect, imperative handle. So yeah, we invalid DOM property class. Do you mean class name? So this is something they use this memo here. So which is something that we're gonna see that later. Okay, no problem. All right. Okay. Anyway, save this. All right, and there you go. So let's see if I can understand that in the next model. Yeah, if I can see if I can get my mind around this in the next models. So right now you're not able to see what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna see, but yeah, that's what it is.
You expect everything.
Because I'm actually recording is myself and the video in Discord here, but because I don't want to receive any strike for that, which is something that I already received that in my YouTube account. It's like, hey, you get an DM. Uh, I receive a DM through LinkedIn. One of these company they hired to manage all of, so to outsource is the legal assets. So no problem. Okay, there you got it. So use Reducer. Next one. Okay, use Reducer. Here we are. So re use Reducer. Reducer. Okay.
I imagine many of you are at least surface level familiar with Redux. If you're not, it's like a centralized store for state in React.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So I think most of you are familiar with surface level of Redux. If you're not, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're. I think most of you are familiar with surf. I think most of you are familiar on a surface level of Redux. If you're not, this is just a centralized way. You're good. It's like a centralized store for state in React. It is a centralized store. Okay, so centralized store for state in React. I am quite familiar with this. So there are other state management solution out there. For example, Sunstat, Sunstat. This is one of them. Okay, this is Lightwave. Okay, bare necessity for state management, like this. Sunstat. Okay, there also quite amount of people actually using and contribute to that. Uh, so you can also see when was the last time it was updated, 2 days ago, which is great, cool. Yep. This is how you can create that. It's pretty similar to Redux. Okay. Again, this is for small and fast, scalable, bare bones state management solution using simplified Flux principle. Has a comfy API based on hooks, is in boilerplate or opinionated. So don't disregard it because it is cute. It has quite the claw. A lot of time was spent dealing with common pitfalls like thread, zombie child problems, React concurrency, and context loss. Oh my god, React concurrency and zombie child problems between mixed render. It may be the one state manager in React space that gets all of this right. Okay, this is a solution for a problem. This readme is written for JavaScript users. If you're a TypeScript user, you should be check out this. So yeah, this is new to that. They also have a so if you can see, if you can take a look at the in React, state management in React for an entire repo, you have now Sunstat, which is one of them. It actually solves a particular problem. Interesting. That's interesting. State management. Okay. Mops is one of them. It is interesting. Vuex is another, but this is for Vue. You have on state. You have Sunstat. That's very, very interesting. Primitive and flexible. Actor-based state management and orchestration for complex logic. Engine store, state management for Angular. Okay. But as you can see, this is the pattern here. This is the store pattern for this, right? You have mops, state tree. That's to me something interesting because I don't see that. Most start, please. Sunstat, tank stack query. So now tank stack actually wants or aims, okay, time stack aims to make the data fetching, catching, syncing, and update with your React application with the server state much more simple, okay? Which is something that we look at one of the React capability, React hook completely. Vue, that's interesting by the way. There are still people actually using and updating that because imagine that there are a lot of applications that now are using Vue. Simple scalable state management, MOPS, X-state, actor-based state management orchestration, which is an interest approach here. Actor-based state management. I will argue that this is for exactly because there are people that are actually using is this X-state template code sandbox with React, with Vue, and with Svelte. But this is a way of how you can now track that stately studio. State charts are a formalism for modeling stateful reactive systems. So this is something interesting because a lot of the companies will actually make use of this. You can position function and utility for using X-state in Vue applications. No, but this is something that I saw that parallel state machine, history state, and there you got it. Again, this is something interesting, okay? As you can look, primitive and flexible. To me, it is interesting that Redux is not even here listed. State management tailor-made of JavaScript applications. NGR, NGRX store. This is now achieve, archive, time stack, but this is for the TypeScript final form. That's very interesting. I don't see here is Uh, things like React, man. So things like Redux, bro. Profitable state container for JavaScript app. Oh, because this is a state container, man. Okay, state container. hmm State container. React Redux, and then you have is this. But now Redux is independent to that. Predictable state container for JavaScript applications. So this is how we can use this Redux. There's also a library called Sunstead that actually has quite popularity here. React.js interview questions, React boilerplates, and as you can see, and then you got is this, which is not quite widely used, and they might have some problems here with that. React Redux 8 requires React 16 or later for that. So yeah, it's used by 3.6 million people. Jesus. Oh my God. The last release was in January. All right. So okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Totally cool. All right. But the idea here is that you can look now at other tools, especially when you're going to develop this kind of application, and how you want to simplify your life as much as possible. So we have Sunstead. This is the company here that are dealing is with that open source developer collective, React Spring, React 3 Fiber, a React render for 3GX, React Spring. Okay, open collective with Pin. I think what this is a company, open source developer collective. Yeah, you're a company. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, because this ecosystem, yeah, because the ecosystem here, because the ecosystem is so wild, it's so extended, so big, vast. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. There is a reason. Okay, that's the reason why a lot of people using is use ref because they want to hold is the reference for that as a way to hold the reference. So give me is this element. So keep track the same element here. So keep track is the same element here. Vector 3D radius. So keep track is the same element here. Okay, okay, but I can see here is that there is a lot of things going on that you can put that. Use Canon physics based on hooks for reactive fiber. That's something interesting. This Open Collective. They also have a lot of this user interface for real-time fiber, primitive and flexible state management for React, React render for 3GS, React nil, React null render, Voltio, Soundstand, processing for using that library as well. That's interesting. Okay. ECC TLR is fine. Meshline. Okay. But there's a lot of project here used in React. Okay. 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 One of them is Sunstat. A small, fast, and scalable bare-bones state management solution using simplified flux principle has a Confi API based on hooks. Drepson children problems, React concurrency, and context loss between mixed render. Mm-hmm. Hooks, high order function, and trade-off. Mm-hmm. Mark def block. Redux maintainer. Mark asm. Okay. And it was in 2019, my friend. Blog answer. Thoughts of React hooks, Redux, and separation of concern. Mm-hmm. Okay, 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 okay. Because now you are getting into the rabbit hole, and I'm not into that rabbit hole. In fact, we're gonna take a look at the reducers. That's the reason why we are here. Okay, okay, cool. Nope, is here. So reducer. So if I ask you this, centralize. If I ask ChatGPT about this, it's like summarize reducer. You are you are an expert in you're an expert in React with over 10 years of experience. Okay, can you describe? You are an you are a React developer expert with over 10 years of experience. This is an instruction, man. So with, explain me like five, like 5 years old, like if I have, or explain use reducer to a child of 9 years old. I mean, no, explain it. No, it's use ref. I mean, it's use ref. It's use ref. Okay, all right. Imagine you have a magical bookmark that you can use in a big book. Okay, a magical bookmark. I like this. Imagine that you have a magical bookmark that you can use in a big book. This bookmark helps you to remember the page you're currently on, even if you flip through the page or close the book. So that's a good analogy here for explaining this abstract concept into more plain things. So use ref. Now think of use ref hook in React like the magical bookmark. It helps you to remember things or to keep track elements. Okay, just like remembering a page in a book. Here's how it works. So this is a lovely. Okay, I really love this. Okay, okay, all right, okay, okay. So now you have, I have 20 years. Okay. So sure, imagine you have a special sticky note that you can attach to different things into your room. So use ref is that sticky, okay, is that sticky note that you can attach to different things in your room. These sticky notes help you to remember something specific about those things, like their color or position, or even you move them around or close your eye. Even if you move them around or close your eye. Use another example. That's sticky, I love that. I really love that sticky thing, you know. So I really love this real life example. Okay, so you can think, okay, so you can think use case, okay, value proposition, and real life example, which is very important. Real life example here, okay, real life example. Imagine, imagine you have a sticky note. Okay, imagine that you have a sticky note. I really love this analogy, man. Okay, the room is like React app. The thing or elements that you are part of your app, like button, input, below, even section. The sticky note, use ref. This is like the special sticky note you can attach to a specific element in your app and remember something about that element. Remembering thing and finding the element again. Exactly. So imagine you have so use ref. You can think of this as sticky nodes that you can add. Mhm. So sticky notes that you can attach to different things in your that you can attach to different things in your room. So it can help you, okay? So it can help you to remember something specific about the thing. So it can help you to remember something, something, some things, yeah, something specific to, okay, this is sticky note. So it can help you to remember something, something, something specific, something specific to, okay, something specific about those things, something specific to, something specific to about those things, okay. So this use ref, and I really love this kind of real life example. So this use ref is that allows you to, it's like you have this sticky note that you can put in different places, different things in your room, and your room is like React applications. You can put this different sticky notes to remember things. So now to be more technical, useref allows you to keep track because after all, it's a custom hooks. It's a hooks. It tracks things when something change. Okay. So when you look at the use ref here from React, okay. And again, this use ref is very niche specific. Mm-hmm. Question: is this updated? React version 18 too. Okay. Oh my God. Here we go. Because right now we're looking is that React version, React version 18 exactly. So we're looking is that React version 18. Yep, that's right. Uh, React 18 exactly. React 18. Okay, we're good. We're good. Use ref, but can you tell me this in English, please? So use hook, React hook lets you reference a value that is not needed for reference. Lets you reference a value that is not needed for rendering. Okay. So if I don't need that, right? The question is that when is going to render this? Use ref initial value. Referencing a value with ref. Use ref return an object with a single property. Current. It is initially it is set to initial value you have passed. You can later set it to something else. If you pass the ref object to React as a ref attribute to a yes node, React will set its current property. On the next render, use ref will return the same object. So again, this is something that is very narrow specific, and with React ref, okay, click counter and stopwatch. Okay, star. So you're using use a state for that, start and set time, now and set now, and then interval ref, you define your functions here and what you wanna do about it. Handle start, handle stop, clear interval, as I use this as a reference. Okay, then you can then let it on. Okay, but because this is a reference. Okay, so this is a reference. If you think of reference here, is that it's pretty much like you hold this object here, which is triple equal, to let it on do something about it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I want to hold this, all right, for a particular amount of time. I want to hold this reference and then do something about it. Call the clear interval, which is part of the JavaScript. And let second pass, and that's what you're gonna render here. Second pass to fixed 3. So what it's gonna do now is to say this, use ref, and now once you're gonna handle star, you're gonna use is the current reference. Mm -hmm. You're gonna use the current reference here as a way to count that. So you start this and stop this. Pitfall: do not write on read current reference currents during rendering. React expects that the body of your component behaves like a pure function. Okay, makes sense. If the input prop state and context are the same, it should return exactly the same GSX. Don't write a ref during rendering. Okay, this is something, don't write a ref during rendering, but after all, because you can read a ref, you can read or write ref from event handlers or effects instead. Manipulate the DOM with ref. Mm -hmm. Use a state, but this is as a way to get this reference from this. As a way to get this reference from this. Playing and pausing a video. But as a way to get this reference for this. As a way to get the value of this reference. Exactly, as a way to get the value of this reference. This is something that I am quite familiar with. Okay? But use ref is a hook for that. Okay. So it lets you reference a value that is not needed for rendering. But again, it lets you to put the sticky notes on any of these different elements on your rule. So use ref, you can use it on, okay. So use ref, you can use it on things that you need later on referencing that are triple equal. Okay, so for example, clear the interval. Okay, makes sense. Another example is to access to the element to that. Use that reference. So for example, in the case of the counter here, stopwatch, which is what it's doing is to get that certain interval exactly. You want to get this in, you want to get the reference, you want to hold is the reference of this activity or this set timeout, this timer. You want to hold that, all right? So you later on, for example, clear that out. That's one of the, okay, that makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense. The other example is that I want to now get this reference and pass and make it and put it this as a sticky note on the element that I need to. Why? As a way to access to the property and methods. For example, is this manipulating the DOM with ref. You know, manipulating the DOM with ref. Referencing a value with ref, manipulating the DOM with ref, and avoid recreating the ref content. Okay. How to avoid null check when initialize use ref later. Troubleshooting. I can get a ref a custom component. Might get an error in the console. By default, your own components, okay, your own component don't expose ref to the DOM node inside of them. To fix this, find the component that you want to get a reference to. That's not a good practice. I will argue this is definitely not a good practice. I will argue that that's definitely not a good practice. Forward ref, you know you're using another things. It's like okay, keep okay. So things started to slowly make sense. Okay, yeah. By looking at this, it actually makes much more sense when Brian Hall actually tried to describe that because you actually sucked, bro. Your description is like, okay. I mean, I can get it when it comes to say, okay, this is my wisdom. Okay, this is a very narrow, specific niche for that. Okay, okay. Use ref allow you to grab and hold a allow you to grab and hold specific DOM nodes. That's one of them. Or to referencing a value with a ref. Okay. Referencing a value with a ref. For example, set timeout, set timeout, and clear interval. That makes a lot of sense. In this particular case, interval. Okay. But here we're looking at a more complex logic here. So now if I take a look at the example here, okay, which is when we open this example, now what it's doing is that, hey, I want you to hold this reference, which is something that I adding here, okay? I want you to hold this reference, and then I want this to now add this component or add this rendering here, okay? Add this rendering here. Because now you're using is the use ref directly here. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense when you use the use ref here. And the other thing is that you're using is even this function as a reference. That's the that's the interesting part. You're using is this reference, this function that I giving, okay, which is this. I'm using is this function. In this case, I'm giving this component that I'm giving to you. All right. Uh, okay, no, it named that. Okay, it's different. So the name of this function is useRef. Okay, that's different. So you're returning is this component, this small component of React, where you're now able to add this sticky notes. So you can think of REST like adding a sticky note to uh, different things in your room that you can have now information about it. Okay. Another use case is for referencing the things. Very, very important. Oh my God. Yeah, it is. For referencing stuff, completely important. Uh, as a way to hold the reference, a use case that is set timeout, and then you now do is the clear interval. Hey, I want you to clear is this interval here. Okay, I don't want you to keep counting that. I don't want you to that particular operation that is being handling in the call stack or in the task queue, okay, the callback queue. I don't want you to deal with that. Okay, remove it from. So because now when you take a look at that example here from the use ref, it's saying, look at what it's doing here. Because it's very, very important to actually understand this. When you what you're adding here is this. I want you to now run this set interval every 10 milliseconds. So what you're doing is you're passing is that to the web API. The web API is going to evaluate that. Once that is over, it will that add to the callback queue or the task queue. And you do that, and you're gonna do that process again and again and again and again and again. All right, and only once that the call stack is empty, the event will wanna say, okay, now let me evaluate whatever is on the micro task, which is promise. I don't have anything here. Oh, great. Let me now evaluate what I have on the calls back queue or the task queue. All right. I have to evaluate all of this, okay, which is this function. And this function say is calling set now. What in the F is set now? You might guess, you might wonder. Set now is exactly is now calling React as a way to render this with this time. So now I want you to give me is the value of this and this. What about now? What about now? What about now? What about now? And then you want to format that. Then you want to format every time you run uh, this. Exactly. Second pass, 0. Second pass is 0. Okay. Second pass is 0. So set now, you have is now here. What you're gonna do is start time is different for null, and now is different from null. Okay, now evaluate is the second pass with that. As a way to actually get that. Okay, second pass. As a way to now here on the second pass is when it's going to do that. Let's say, hey, start again, start again. If you do stop, look at what happened. Exactly. It will stop that by clearing the interval with that. So don't call me that. Set now, date now. But you're not using is this. You're using is this just as a way to do I have the ability to oh my god, yeah, do I have the ability to do this? Because if you don't pass nothing to the set now, okay, it won't trigger the rendering. You can also in fact and say, hey, this is new. If you do this, it will exactly. But because after all, what you are rendering here is a second pass. And it's because you're now evaluating the second pass. But to me, that's something interesting because it say now, oh, okay, because it's now that is actually being evaluated here. Hey, it's now different from null. Uh, yes, when you start that, okay, and start time is null. Yes. Now, well, compute this. Now compute this. Okay, you do this, compute this. This is what you're going to compute this. You now again the callback. Oh my god, the callback Q is evaluating this expression again. Uh, Now with the new value here, okay, and then you say, hey, now what is the time of now? It's different from the previous. It's different from null. You have now to run this because anytime it run this, okay, it will it will rerun this function here. It will rerun this function over and over and over, and you do that so fast that you can see here. For example, if you added this here, okay, and you start that, but you can see here it's going to add that. Again, because there is a delay in doing that, you know. There is a delay in doing that. The delay is something that happens at the callback here when evaluating that. When evaluating that. Because as you can see, this is supposed to start with one, not this, but it actually has a delay, a little delay here that it will add up at all of these things. That's something interesting. That's part of the JavaScript, bro. That's part of the JavaScript, bro. But in any case, so that is uh, useRef. So useRef is like this sticky notes in. It's like this sticky note that you can put different things in your room, okay? In your kitchen, in your living room. There's this sticky note that you can put in different things on your room that contain is data. So the use case of this is, again, it's very narrow specific. For example, when you want to hold a reference, uh, yeah, when you want to hold a reference, and then you want to clear an interval for that. One of the use cases is for clear interval, set timeout and clear interval. And the other is when you want to get a reference from a DOM element. Makes sense. Completely, 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 completely. Okay, completely, completely, man, completely. All right. Okay. So in the case of here, right, what you have is the use ref. In this case, what you're saying is like, hey, I want you to now use ref this hooks, okay? That will is uh, hold you and track the reference from that, right? So if you reference a value that is not needed for rendering, pretty ambiguous by the way. So this value that I'm gonna hold is not gonna need it at rendering. But when I attach that to an element here, okay, now I'm using it as a DOM. And for that, what I can do is uh, adding that and append to a child, which is, hey, I want you to now add into the DOM, render DOM element here. Render it. Render DOM element. I want you to now add in this. Okay, let me now take a look at the next hook, which is reducer.
I imagine many of you are at least surface level familiar with Redux. If you're not, it's like a centralized store for state in React. I imagine many of you are at least surface level familiar.
Mm-hmm. Which is here. Now, like, we'll take a look at this. I think most of you are familiar surface level of Redux. If you're not, this is a centralized store in React state. Okay.
Redux. If you're not, it's like a centralized store for state in React. A central concept to Redux is the concept of a reducer.
Okay, so a central a central concept of Redux is about reducers. This reducer function.
which is a reducer is just a really fancy way of saying I have a function. That function takes in a bit of state. It takes in an action, and it gives you back a new bit of state. That's really it. So we have this function here. Let's just make that really small. Gives you back. Reducer is just a really fancy way of saying I have a function. That function takes in a bit of state. It takes in an action, and it gives you back a new bit of state. That's really it. So we have this function here. Let's just make that really small. Called reducer. It takes in some piece of state. Our state just looks like, if I can find it right here, it has an H, it has an S, and it has an L, right? That's all it is. It's an object with 3 properties on it. And then it takes in an action, and that action is going to have a type of some variety, right? It's either going to increment H, decrement H, increment S, increment L, or decrement L, right? That's it.
This is all the action.
Those are the 6 options for how to modify this particular bit of state. Why are we doing it this way? It seems like some indirection to do it this way. The reason why you can do this is now when you change state, you can test that. So this reducer is now very testable. It has no side effects. All it does is it takes in state and in action it gives you back new state.
New state. That's very testable.
Most problems in user interfaces come from mismanaged state. And so making your changing state testable is very valuable. So I have this HSL. If you're not familiar with HSL, it's a way of describing color.
It's a way to describe color here.
Or lab.
This is hue.
It's hue, saturation, and lightness. It's just a way of describing color. And I'm using this to basically kind of cheat a little bit to make it so that if you change the hue or the saturation of something or the lightness, generally you can rotate yourself around the color wheel and the text kind of remains readable as long as you're on the opposite side of the color wheel, right? Not totally true. You have to get into like lab color space to really guarantee something to be readable, but you can see pretty close, right? I'm rotating around the color wheel and the text is still remaining fairly readable, which is, I think, pretty neat, right? This is not great. This probably doesn't pass AA, right? But yeah, that definitely doesn't. But most of these do, like that does, right? Anyway, all this is doing is it's passing in actions, which you can see here. I'm doing a dispatch here, and the type is increment S or decrement S. And this function all it does is it's basically like the H is just rotating around 0 to 360 and then going back around, right? Because HSL is like a color wheel, basically, right? So in other words, you're just imitating Redux behavior using just React, using this hook called useReducer. Some people basically say, like, I never use state, I only use useReducer. It's a replacement for use state. Right? Use state and useReducer accomplish the same thing, just different ways. I find this a bit heavy-handed. I think in this case it's kind of elegant. So, like, if I'm doing something like this where I have to have some sort of like complex interaction between how my state is changing over time, useReducer is an elegant way to solve that. But if I'm just going from true to false and false to true, I'm just going to do use state. That seems way easier. The next thing we're going to talk about is 2 performance optimizations for React. One of them is called use memo. One of them is called use callback. They're extremely similar. In fact, use callback is just basically a permutation of use memo. You can actually implement use callback using use memo. Fun fact. but we're not going to do that today. So you can see here I have this little animation of this red ball going back and forth. And really the only way, let's actually just go directly to stack. But
Okay. Okay. But okay, I think use reduction is something most important than use graph. But that'll be all for this video. So take care.